All right. Welcome, everybody, to the Broadband Hui. This is meeting number 259, and today is November 19th, 2025. I'm glad that you all could make it and join us. I'm going to stop the share here and do some quick introductions. My name is Bert Lum. I'm in the broadband office here at the state and gladly kind of co-host with Chrissy Kuhine. Chrissy, you want to say hi?
Aloha kako. So sorry, I had to switch. Welcome everyone. Oh, it's so nice to see so many faces. Mahalo for joining, and I look forward to our presentations today.
Great, thanks. And what we typically do is a mana'o of the day. And, I was looking around for something that I thought might be appropriate. And let me share what I found and give you a little bit of background. So where's my... Okay, so in the spirit of this makahiki season, I kind of found this one, Ehelene ka pu olo. And the translation is, leave every person, place, or condition better than you found it. And I thought, this is a pretty good proverb. It's not attributed to any particular person, but it is one that is in the Olelo Noeau. And I find that it's kind of appropriate given the fact that, we're going into the makahiki season. And typically during the makahiki season is when sort of all wars stop and we sort of rejoice in the fruits of our labor, over the course of the year. And the makahiki season is sort of going around and sharing some of the bounties, that people have grown and harvested over the course. And this is typically during the rainy season, and it's a time of rebirth and regrowth. And so it lasts, for the most part, I think, from October to February. And so I thought that this might be a good kind of manao of the day. And I think in the work that we do, we're always trying to help community. And I like the idea that, we want to leave whatever we do better than the condition that we found it in. So that's the manao of the day, and I appreciate you giving me a chance to share those thoughts. Now, with that, we usually do a little bit of introduction, but I think for the most part, everybody on the call are kind of regular. So there's no brand new people on the call. Except for Chad, maybe, and I'll give it over to Chad to start into our kind of agenda, which is going to include, 3 kind of talks. And Chad, you can, I'll preface it by saying that Civil Beat did a kind of a group info briefing on their digital democracy project that they've worked on, and it's now live. And I wanted Chad to come on and share a little bit about it. And Chad, while I share this, why don't you give folks a little background on you're probably one of the pillars. You're one of the pillars of Civil Beat, right?
Pillar. Ouch. That's an interesting word. I've heard cog. Pillar is very nice.
No, pillar. No, pillar, yeah, it's nice.
I mean, I have definitely been there since the beginning, and it's now we're in our 16th year. So either I can't get another job, and I think Sarah Lynn, are you on this? It looks like if that's the same Sarah Lynn,
it's the same Sarah Lynn. Yeah,
yeah, she was one of our founding editors here, and she and I go back to Honolulu Weekly for those of you folks who remember. And hi, Sarah. Anyway, this is just Bert was part of this Hui the other day. Some of you may be familiar with this. We've launched this new platform. It's on our website. It's free, just like Civil Beat is. And digital democracy, I'm not going to give you the whole spiel. I'm just going to try and keep this short and sweet. But in essence, it's using AI to scan the data at the state legislature, campaign spending commission, ethics commission, others, all open secrets, all publicly available data, and to then put the AI robots on it to try and sort it out for us and tell us what it means. And this will not replace our legislative content going forward once the session starts in January, but it will complement it. You can read more if you just Google it on our website or use our own search function. But we're working with Cal Matters, an online website in California, and they've been using it. They were the very first to use digital democracy. We're the second state that they've expanded to. We're working with Pol.is, the tech guys there to help us. To be clear, this is not producing articles. This is not writing articles. This is not Chat GPT, but it's using the AI to scan and give us story ideas to then report back to you. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on the website. The page that Bert has up shows you the methodology. You can go to our Civil Beat org site. This Hawaii Agenda 2025, this is all us that came up with this. This is not something others dictated. This is all done by hand using the AI data. And this is for 2025, because as we all know, the sessions POW finished back in May, and we've crunched some data, done some stories. We wrote 7 or 8 stories about that. But these general topics will probably stay very similar going forward. Once we start with 2026, the difference with 2026 is it's going to be an everyday thing, right? The session only meets from January to May. And so we'll be constantly updating it. This has the advantage of being a complete project because session's long been POW. But those kind of nicely capture, I think, overall, generally the categories that we've been looking into. I won't spend a lot of time, but Bert, if you could just click on climate change real quick.
Okay, here we go.
Yeah, and just scroll down to those 4 bills. It identified with our human touch the top bills. That 1396, that's the green fee. SB 2023 223 is on obviously fire prevention because of Lahaina. 1604, excuse me, I'm dyslexic this morning. HB 1064, that's the fire marshal. We finally hired a state fire marshal. And HB 732, that's obviously on shoreline management and so forth. Tons of other things, but that just kind of gives you a flavor. Just hit your back arrow. And then there's all these other bills, but go ahead and hit your back arrow. The next section I want to go down to is legislature at a glance. And we have got them all up there. It's sorted by district, by the way. That's why Lorraine Inouye is in the top upper left-hand corner. Let's go ahead and click on Lorraine's website. She's in the green there. And it takes you, and this is drawing data not only from the Capitol website, but others. And if you scroll down, among other things, it'll show stories like look who's talking. Lorraine Inouye is someone who talks a lot of the ledge. If you scroll a little bit further, it shows her bill activity. You scroll further, it looks at her financials, where she gets her money. And Bert, if you hover your mouse over maybe one of those, not that one because there's nothing in there, it's uncoded. Maybe labor. Labor there is kind of bottom straight down, I think.
Okay,
Yeah.
labor.
Okay, yeah. And it breaks it down further, and you could go even further down below. Go ahead and scroll and see what else is left on this page. Oh, how much money's been raised, and a few other things. Oh, we're breaking down gifts. This is really interesting. Where it says 2017, go ahead and just hit that and go to 2023. 2023. It's in the pull down, the pull down
Oh, yeah,
menu.
okay.
And
Oh.
it doesn't have 2023. Oh, go ahead and hit
No.
sponsored travel. Sponsored travel. That's the one next to it. There we go. As soon as it comes up, go ahead and hit 2023 now. Or 2019 is the most recent on the data. And
Yeah.
it lists, conferences that you went to. I should just let you know this is all a work in progress. We're still crunching the data. but it kind of gives you a sense of what we look for. And then one other thing, go ahead and back arrow to the main page again. Um, the most fun section is the top 10 and bottom 10 list. And you might just click on most talkative. See where most talkative is? Filter by most talkative. It's all right there. It is at the bottom. Go ahead, or the next one, actually. There it is. David Tarnas is the most chatty by far. I mean, the AI goes in and counts all the words, and that's all taken from all the videos, all the YouTube, from the floor sessions, from the committee hearings. Of course, David Tarnas runs the judiciary. You might just click on lowest, Bert, for the lowest, least amount of talking. See it right to the just above David Tarnas's name there. It'll say lowest in red. There you
Got
go.
it.
Thanks, Bart. Joe Gideon's brand new. He replaced Gene Ward, who passed away during session, sadly. Of course, obviously, he doesn't have any at all. But there's Sam Kong, who spoke the least. And I actually called Sam and said, do you realize you speak the least? And he explained why. But that's kind of a fun article, but it also kind of points to, the impact of lawmakers and so forth. Anyway, I think I'll stop there because I could easily talk about this for 20 minutes or more. And when we were doing our Hui the other day with Bert, it went on for an hour and we had many questions. But let me just again just stress that this is a work in progress, that we are fine tuning it. There are still bugs. Cal Matters has only been doing this for 2 years, and their session in California actually lasts twice as long as ours. So they just finished their session, I think, last month. But we're going to be doing this going forward. And the idea is to also bring in more data. For example, all the written testimony. We're trying to get all that scanned. It is already scanned. We just have to scrape it because that'll be really help us a lot. If you're looking up who was opposing the green fee, for example, and why did they oppose it, uh, this really saves hours and hours of time for a reporter. But I should also stress very much, we're not just taking it for granted. We're having to double check. So the human element is very much involved here. It runs it, it controls it. We are well aware of the pitfalls of AI. I myself have entered this with some trepidation, but so far it's been pretty cool, pretty impressive. And if we can shed light on how our lawmakers do what they do to help our readers understand more about that big square building on Beretania, I don't think it can hurt. So it's exciting, and I can take a few questions, but Bert, you're in charge here.
Well, I just wanted to show people that this is the main site, and then you can see where digital democracy is on the menu here, and it's pretty easy to get access to the site. Now, Ron has a question, but I want to quickly ask you, Chad. This shows 2025. During the course of 2026, you really don't show anything from 2026 until the session is actually Pol.
No, there's no data to go over.
Okay.
I mean, the budget will be introduced next month from the governor, and then starting in early January, all the department heads have to go with their budget requests to WAM and Fin, and then I think session starts third Wednesday in January, whatever day that is. That's by the Constitution. And then the bills themselves, the first deadline, I think, is a couple of days after that. But for anybody who tracks the ledge, they start posting those bills earlier than that. And
Okay.
so we will be building it from the ground up and then updating it on a daily basis for 2026.
Okay, sounds good. Ron, did you have your hand up first?
Yes. Chad, I'd like to ask you just one question. Is it possible to also post? I want to know how much salaries nonprofit administrators make. Is that public access?
Oh, I don't know. That's a good question. As you know, Civil Beat, or if you don't know, in fact, we're currently updating. We post the salary for all the city and county employees.
Yeah,
And have been
that's why I asked
right.
that.
But nonprofit would mean non-government, right? And so we wouldn't have access to that data. Certainly, I'd be very curious to see it. I don't know if they're required to disclose that as part of their nonprofit status. I just don't know enough about that area. I'm sorry, but we don't track that, and this website will not be posting that. We're looking at strictly government data that is available publicly. But that's a good idea, though, Ron. That might make for a good adventure to look and see how much I don't know. It seems to me that would have to be disclosed somewhere because of their nonprofit status, but
That's right.
that's
Yeah.
not my area. I don't cover business as much here for Civil B, but that's a good idea.
Yeah, because maybe about 10 years ago, I was at a workshop, and of course, tourism is the number one industry. Military is the next. The fourth largest industry in Hawaii is nonprofits.
Really? What was that? A PBN book of lists?
I don't know, but it is major. Like I have the ARC in the back of me. I'm familiar. I work with CARES, BISAC, and I know it's not Aloha salaries. And I'm hearing rumors these guys made some good money, goodwill,
Well,
good
thanks for the
goodwill.
tip. I would assume they were at least behind retail, behind the banks and everything. But I don't know. That's interesting. Maybe I'll pass it on to Stuart Yurton, our business reporter. Because here's the other angle. Nonprofits, as you know, go hat in hand to the legislature
That's
and
right.
the counties every year. In fact, they're doing it now. They're looking for grants and aid, and I think there's going to be an announcement soon. And a lot of them have taken hits because of what's going on in DC. But I'm by surprised by that statistic, Ron. I will have to look into it.
Hey, thanks, Ron. Thanks, Ron. I want to make sure we kind of move on and then give Kieran a chance to ask her question.
Thanks, Chad, for sharing this. I mean,
Sure.
I'm first of all, I'm the CEO of the Kapolei Chamber of Commerce, so I'm going to find this really helpful. I do a pre-ledge session with all of my members online just to kind of brief them and get them familiar with how to use the legislative site. And this just adds another plus to make it user friendly. And I love the data. I do have a question though. Now, like when you on our legislative website, they of course archive the previous year. And then I noticed on your digital democracy, you have the ones that are still alive in the biennium, right? Because they passed over. How are you going to change that when you go into the new session? Is it going to be like an archive page for the old one, or is it in a new one, or how's that going to be?
It's a good question. The 2025 section will remain its own. We won't erase that data. It will stay there. I can tell you we've even tried to see whether we can look back further. As you know, the legislature, I think, goes back to 2013, the online stuff, and then you got to go to the LRB or the archives if you want to look up the actual print journals and whatnot. And at some point, if there's resources, we'd love to be able to do that. That's not in our playbook right now, but the 2025 session will stay there. As you probably know, those bills that carry over, because it is biennial, 99% of them are never going to be heard again. And if they do another bill, like if they do marijuana again, which they probably will, if they're going to try and legalize it, not just decriminalize, um, my guess is they'll introduce a new bill because the old bill is just too long and too convoluted, but it will still exist. But they also start a whole new set of bill numbers, right? So the first set was 1 through 1500, and this next set will be roughly 1501 to 3. Well, that's to 3000. That's just for one chamber, right? Then it's the same on the House and Senate each. So, long story short, that'll be a good question how we're going to integrate those two, and that will be a challenge going forward. But if a bill that got carried over gets heard again, it should reflect the past legislative history, just like it does on the Capitol's website. Fingers crossed.
Thanks, Kieran. Any other questions for Chad? Again, this is a great resource, Chad, and thanks to
Thank
Civil
you.
Beat for
Yeah, appreciate you
pulling the resources together for
Thanks,
that.
Bert. And feel free to reach out to us. You can email me, but there's also an email directly to our digital democracy site that's on the website. If that's good to go, I'm gonna duck out here and generate some content for Civil Beat.
Okay.
And it's been a pleasure, guys. And yeah, just please reach out. This is all not just for journalists. This is for you, the public, and it is free. I do want to stress that. So
Thanks. Really appreciate it. And
thanks,
I think
guys.
this is a good segue into the next presenter, which is Seiichi Nagai, and he has graciously offered Civic Nexus, people who are part of the Hui and are interested in tracking current legislation. And so, Seiichi, why don't you kind of do a quick recap and then let people know how they might be able to log in, given the folks that have expressed interest in being access the instance of the Broadband Hui's version of Civic Nexus.
Yeah, great. I can't share my screen yet. It looks like it's disabled.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Let me. Okay, there you go.
Okay, can you guys see my screen?
Yep.
Okay, so I think between this tool and the last one, this Hui is going to be like superpower Hui. So the last tool is really helpful for understanding the data related to legislators, related to bills, topics. And then this tool will help each individual track the legislation as it moves through the legislative process. So I did a demo earlier. So this one will be a little bit quicker. But for anyone who hasn't seen it yet, we have all 4,000 bills and resolutions here in this table. We scrape from the Capitol website every 5 minutes, so it's all near real time. This is all of the, if you click into any of these rows, it will expand and show you all of the relevant bill data. You can, as a team, you can set an action, whether you want to testify or monitor on the bill. You can set a high priority. So the team will have to meet and figure out what high priority means. And then you can set arbitrary tags. So let's say I want to tag Bert in the bill, for example. And I'll show you why that's relevant. And then we can take notes here. So let's say like met with, 1119, for example. And now everyone else with access to the organization can see my notes. And then we can come in here and filter the table by lots of different things. And so we can say like bills we want to monitor. And then once you filter the table, you can now copy or download to a spreadsheet, and I'll show you what that looks like. So it's pretty much everything in the table, everything you'll find on the Capitol website bill page with your custom notes and everything. So it's really easy to share the bill lists. The way the tags come in handy is, you can assign a person, and then you can create what we call a view. And so now whenever Bert comes in here, he knows it's very easy for him to filter out what's relevant to him. During session, we will have cards here that represent a hearing if anyone needs to testify in person on these bills. I have added everyone listed here. So if you see your email here, you should have gotten an email. It might be in your spam, but it's asking if you want to reset your password. And if you can't find it, that's fine. You can go to civicnexus.com and click login. And for me, I'm already logged in, but for you, it'll take you to the login page and you can hit forgot password, and then it'll send you a new password. And if you're not on this list, send me your email if you want access, and I will add you.
Great.
Yeah. And so this is, Civic Nexus is sponsoring this account. We are very supportive of what this Hui is doing. But that being said, if anyone, we're trusting that everyone's using this for the Hui. And so if we see like tons of activity that's unrelated to broadband, like I'm probably going to ask you to purchase your own license, just a heads up.
Yeah.
But otherwise, feel free to, create your own lists and like have fun with the platform.
Now, Seichi, I just want to put a little caveat on the just broadband, because there may be some interest in, digital equity, digital literacy, AI, some of the digital technologies, that are unfolding in front of us and may have some bills associated with it. Might even include some cyber interest. So I just wanted to
yeah. Everything under the scope of what this Hui is doing. Yeah.
Yeah. And then
Thank you for-
I wanted to ask maybe Kieran, did you get your email? Did you see your email?
I did not, but I can go on to the website and do that, what you said, Seichi. So yeah, I was just looking. I didn't see it come through. Do you know when you sent it?
Let me ask.
I sent it just before this meeting, so
Oh,
30 minutes ago or so. But you might as well just
Dan, did you get something?
forgot password.
I did get it.
Okay, good.
And then
Great.
hey,
Go
Hi,
ahead, Chrissy.
hey, aloha Seichi. Just very quick question. So in my case, if because Comp is considering purchasing, we have so I signed up under the email that you have here. How does it differentiate my email and organization? Is that going to be a problem?
No, so you'll see what I see here.
Oh,
so I'm in
okay,
the
got it.
HPC feedback group, and then you'll just have multiple organizations that you can
Got
look
it.
through.
Okay, mahalo.
Mhm.
Oh, I do have one more question before I forget. Any interim type of legislation will that be? And it popped in my head because the announcement for the Act 310 awardees for the, I don't want to say awardees, but those proposals who are accepted for the grants program is going to be announced tomorrow. And so got notification via hearing NGP, what is the number? Anyway, so are
Yeah.
any of those interim ones available there?
So right now it's just bills, resolutions, and concurrent resolutions. That is something that I will bring back to the team, but probably not for before the beginning of the year.
Okay, mahalo.
JK, thanks. This is really great.
Yeah, and I will send login instructions in an email to everyone that I've had access to as well. So if you forgot how to do it, don't worry about it. I'll let you know.
All right. Any other questions for Seichi? All pretty clear.
Once ledge session starts, we might have questions, but and start working and using it, then so if we do like on just a general space, can we reach out to you and
Yes,
Yeah.
please reach out to me. Yeah, I think here I'll put my email in the chat here. It's just Seichi at Civic Nexus.
I think the big one is when all the bills are introduced and we put the tracking in, right? To make sure we capture everything. That's the first thing that comes to mind.
Yeah, so one thing that will happen is you can see here that all the bills are sorted by this relevance score, and broadband is at the top. And the reason that is because we created a organization profile. So I just added a bunch of keywords, but we can make this a little more thorough. So we can add policy position. So this would be an issue, the stance we have on the issue. And this is allowing the system to understand what's important to us and not rank all the bills by relevance. So there may be some that the system misses, but this is a good place to start.
One of the keywords, I don't know how to enter this without because it's a broad word, but workforce development and relating to tech, that's another area that I think we track in the Broadband Hui too. So remote work kind of comes into that conversation a little bit. So that's another one that might be good to, I mean, we can funnel it down. If you put workforce development, it's going to be a huge broad blanket, but with tech, there have been bills in the past that have that are more related to technology.
Yeah, and that's a good distinction that you're making, because if we put keywords in that are very broad, it will obfuscate the relevance score a bit. So we want to stay pretty specific, but I think adding tech in front of workforce development will probably be good enough there.
Technology, yeah, I think.
Yeah. And then it'll take a second, but you'll see that the bill orders will all move around and everything. And just I guess like a final note, the system right now, it's super simple. It's like 2 pages, really just 1 page. And that's That's really the design principle that we've had while building the website. We don't have all the bells and whistles that Fiscal Note or Quorum has, and that's kind of the point. It's supposed to be a really easy experience, reducing the cognitive load involved in legislation tracking. I think there's...
Thanks.
Ron, you have your
Ron?
hand raised.
Yeah, Seiichi, thank you. Just a reminder, next week, Tuesday at 6 o'clock, I have you scheduled for our Zoom meeting with Shaw. Is it possible for you to send me a short bio so they'll know a little bit about you? And do you have a YouTube tutor uploaded? Because I went to your website and
Oh yeah, I could send you that. I'll send you all that stuff.
okay, thank you.
Okay, thanks, Ron.
Okay, thanks. Thanks, Ron. Thanks, Seiichi. Okay, so with that, I think we kind of want to move on. I invited Elizabeth back to the Hui and wanted to give her a chance to talk a little bit about Pol.is and the process and what would be kind of the important steps forward for the Hui to kind of take a look at this and use it as a tool to identify some of the priorities moving forward. So, Elizabeth, you want to kind of jump into Pol.is?
Yeah. Let's see. Just a second, we'll get my slides going. All right. So I'm Elizabeth. If you all were here last time, I was here about a month ago, and really quickly I ran a 15-minute activity where I asked folks what are like the values, what are you trying to achieve? And there were 15 people who engaged, and so we will review what that gave us today. But first, I just want to review why I'm here, like why Bert invited me. So he wants to kind of do a check-in about distilling the Hui's direction, right? So the Hui was originally started when there is an abundance of federal funding to close the digital divide. And now a lot of those programs are gone. And so he wants to check in about if the Hui is serving the needs of its members. And so this could be part of like a longer process. It's not going to be like super involved. But that's kind of the cool thing, is that I've been figuring out how to facilitate efficient processes to help groups distill their values, identify their shared goals, and then move forward. So that's why we're talking about Pol.is and the Hui today. So as part of this process, we want to make sure that we have shared values in the first place and prioritize what those are. Once those are clear in a way that everyone can access and everyone is on board with, then we can identify the problems that the Hui wants to solve, and then go into identifying the barriers and how the Hui can overcome those barriers. So today, what we're going to do is just review the conversation that we have had, right? I want you all to just see what people in your group said. And then I made a survey. So this isn't a Pol.is. This is more of a check-in, okay? And then after that, I'll be able to look at your responses and then figure out the next steps moving forward. So, you know, we might establish that we already have shared values, or we might realize just from your responses that there's actually a lot of variance. So that'll help us pinpoint the kind of cohesion of the group. Okay, so I'll just quick shift to Pol.is. Okay. Okay, so this was the conversation that the Hui had on October 15th. And that's when we asked, what problems do you want to solve with the Broadband Hui, and what's the barrier to solving those problems? So I think this was actually just like a 5 or 10 minute conversation. Like I introduced myself and then kind of showed everyone the tool, which is weird to use for the first time. So I think you guys did great. And anyone can access this. What I'll actually do is create, you're just going to see the back end of what I see for a second. So I'm going to produce a report and just put that in the chat for anyone to have. Okay. So what we're looking at right now is what Pol.is does is it kind of creates opinion groups. And the really cool thing is it can facilitate conversations of up to 1 million people. So you might imagine that there's lots of different groups of opinion in 1 million people. But so it also does that even in the smallest groups. And it doesn't have to, only if there is divergent opinion that characterizes the groups, but it also shows the majority. And so that's what we're going to focus on. So that's what I have selected here. You can also go back and see what characterize the groups. They're not very different. But for the majority, so members said broadband access is important for our state's economic growth, and 91% of you agreed. You said affordability and barriers to internet access for health, workforce, and economic development. Ensuring low-income rural residents have access to internet and devices. Making sure that our underserved and our people have the resources they need to use the internet. And that broadband access increases healthcare access via telehealth. And then I think someone kind of wanted to play around a little bit and just said internet is a fad that needs to go away. So most people who saw it disagreed. But I also wanted to just bring this one up because one, it's important that everyone sees what everyone says. But I'm also not quite sure that this comment was serious. And something that's really cool about Pol.is that's different from like the normal ways we have to converse in maybe online or in general when we're communicating with people with power is that in Pol.is, any idea like can come from anyone and can be the idea that pulls your community together. And it can be the idea that surfaces important tension in your community. And so I think people aren't really used to that, that you have like a real outlet to surface important ideas in a way that everyone can interact with. seriously. Okay, so now what I've planned is a little survey because I wanted to check in, like I said, about where everyone's at. So this is an active moment. Dang, where's my... Just like, oh, so many things today. Okay. So I created a survey, and I'll also, you can scan this and do it on your phone. I'll also put the link in the chat, and that'll take just a moment. And I think the survey will take about 5 to 10 minutes.
So Elizabeth, is the assignment then to have everybody on their own time kind of take the survey, and then that would be informative for the next, kind of like the next step?
Yes, but I'd like everyone to do it right now because I know how the world works, and if you all leave,
Okay.
20% of you will do it. So
I just want to make sure that we have just a few minutes for our last topic, which is a quick bead update.
okay, how much time do you need for that?
I don't think too much time, probably about maybe 5 minutes.
Okay. Okay, great. Yeah, so let's do this. And so, yeah, I'm just gonna be quiet for now.
Okay, so the link is the Manoa, Hawaii.
Yep.
Okay. Well, that first one is tempting, very unsatisfied.
We'll get the full distribution of responses. Hopefully no one is very unsatisfied, but it's possible. So
Yeah. I just hope everybody's able to access and do this survey. Okay, great. Do people need more time?
Yeah, how about definitely take your time, but just put in the chat when you're done.
I'm done. Great. We got some feedback from Gary and Nick.
Yeah, we just don't want to pressure people. Some people take longer to formulate their thoughts. So like hearing that other people are done might stress out some responses.
Okay. Just like when you're sitting in class and taking the test and the first person hands it in, and you go, oh my God.
Yeah, I was always very stressed when I saw that, even though I stayed in school for a long time.
Well, you've got a lot more time now that you're working on your PhD.
Mhm. Yeah.
Okay, well, good good completion rate here. Appreciate everybody's participation in this.
Yeah, so I think what we'll do is we can finish now, and I'm just going to put my email in the chat. So if you have any like thoughts that you want to bring up from this, and then basically moving forward, so I'll review the responses. If you're not done, please finish after the meeting. And then I think we'll also make sure that it's just sent out broadly to the email list. And then we can continue in our journey of figuring out where are we in that process of establishing shared values, identifying our collective problems, and solving it. So, yeah.
So real quickly, Elizabeth, really mahalo for doing this. And the next session, I think you and I were talking, maybe we spend a little bit more time.
Yeah.
And are we looking at the 17th of December?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. And that's a good point. So we did want to flag that we're thinking of doing almost the whole session on really getting into where we are. And doing that active reflection.
Great. I really appreciate that.
Yeah.
So anybody who hasn't finished the survey, please feel free to finish that up. And then Elizabeth, I'll chat with you and then see you back here on the 17th. In the meantime, Chrissy had a question about the BEAD press release. And I wanted to give Sarah a chance to kind of update us on what the press release announced and what does that actually mean. Thanks, Chrissy, and thanks, Sarah.
Sure. Good morning, everybody. Nice to see a packed meeting full of content today. Okay, so what I can share is exciting, but also pending like official transmittal of the award. So what we do know is that yesterday, along with 17 other states, Hawaii was awarded or at least given approval by NTIA for its BEAD proposal, its BEAD final proposal. Now, this is important because once this had been approved, we can move forward with officially awarding the contracts to the two vendors, which we had previously talked about on the Hui call, Hawaiian Tel and Kuiper, that responded to the RFP and were conditionally awarded. And additionally, it allows us to, just kind of take the next step forward in this years-long process of ensuring that all unserved and underserved communities can get connected. But as for like actual everything details, we still got to await the official transmittal from the feds, which the press release comes a lot earlier than the official documents, I have to say. So that's kind of all I can share right now, because there may be, in fact, some like special award conditions that we don't quite know about that may be included in the transmittal, as well as like a couple of, final dotted I's and T's.
Great,
Mahalo,
Christy.
Sarah. Yeah, just real quick. If once those details are finalized, it would be great if we could have either you or even just hear from those two organizations who are going to be using the funding, to hear what their plans are and how that's going to impact the different islands, communities. That would be awesome.
Okay, I can make the request and we'll see what folks feel comfortable sharing and all that. They may not want to come on before the actual contracts are all signed, but maybe they will be. But I'm happy to make the request and see what we can do.
Great.
Okay, very good. So Sarah, just let me know when you guys are ready, and then I'll make sure that we schedule you and whoever you want to have join you, on the Hui call. Probably might be in January, because if it, we've got the December 17th already scheduled for Pol.is, and I don't think December 30th is probably too soon, yeah. So it might even push into January. Okay. Sounds good. Thanks, everybody. Any other updates or items to share with the Hui before we close out this session?
I think for anyone who applied for the Act 310, they're going to have the announcement tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. You can either be in person or online. And then I think we should be hearing about the rural health transformation proposals by the end of this year, if I'm not mistaken. So that's another one to look forward to.
Yeah, that rural health transformation between you and Christina Higa, I think it would be great to get an update on what that means and what that entails going forward, because that's a pretty good sum of money going for rural health.
Yeah, and we did. I know that based on our state, we put in for the maximum 250 million, if I'm not mistaken, and then the categories just based on the National Association of Community Health Centers. And if anyone's interested, there is a link that you can go to, hover over and look at the states. Our state, for some reason, doesn't have the link to our proposal, but some states have made their proposals public, so you can actually read through them. But the main categories, top category that most of the ask is going towards is workforce development. So this is just across all 50 states. Workforce development. The other one right below that is of access to healthcare, I believe. Telehealth is in a bigger, broader one. And then, of course, AI and innovation. And then I know for Hawaii, there's a big category for emergency services. So bringing back, for example, things like we put back in helicopter medical services, like to the Waianae Coast. We used to have a helipad here, and so we're looking at a way to get that back to a dedicated service when needed for trauma.
Thanks, Chrissy. Dan, did you have something quick to say?
Of course. We're going to hear from DHHL today. Interesting article in the paper. It's not about telecom, but about housing. That DHHL can exempt itself from state regulations, which could really speed up their broadband programs. And then of course we have the thing in civil beat on the end of the Sandra Childs mess. So
yeah, I will leave any of that to Jaron, and I'll let him know that you're interested. Hey, Ron.
Yeah, hi Dan. I'm glad you brought it up. I have Jaron coming on with Mr. Anzai,
Seichi.
next week Tuesday. So if you can, I'll invite you to our Broadband Hui meeting, Dan, okay?
Oh, thank you. Yes.
Yeah, it'll be Tuesday at 6 o'clock. Thank you.
And just to be clear, it's Ron's meeting with Shaw. It's not a Broadband Hui meeting.
Not a Broadband.
Okay, so with that, I just want to leave you with another link that I shared because Kieran was asking about workforce development. I just happened to have a announcement about a program called TELI, which is Tech Executive Leadership Initiative. And that link is in the chat. And there will be a fireside chat with Christine Sakuda, which is going to be about some of the opportunity to be involved with MedQuest. And so that's another area if people are interested in a career in IT, this particular training program is to help prepare people who are interested in a career in this area of supporting MedQuest. So you might want to check that out. Okay, Ron, do you still have your hand up, or I'm going to end the call pretty soon? Okay. Let me put up the final slide here. Okay, thank you everybody for joining us on the 259th Broadband Hui call. We will have the next call take place on December 3rd. So if you have any thoughts on topics and you know, ideas on questions you might want to have answered, please shoot me an email and we can see if we can get the subject matter experts involved with answering any of those questions. So between now and December 3rd, I hope you guys all have a great couple of weeks. I think Thanksgiving is in between all of that, and looking forward to some days off, enjoy with you know, family and friends. So until we see you all again in December, you stay safe and you stay awesome. Aloha, everybody.
Mahalo. Ahui ho.